Now that we've learned order of operations and following GEMDIS, we're going to look at more complex problems that include exponents and fractions. Let's take a look at the first one. 5 minus 2 times the group 3 minus 6, all of that is squared. So we're going to simplify what's inside the parentheses first. 3 minus 6 is negative 3. And then that is squared. Because there's parentheses right here, and that's right next to what is the exponent 2, we're only going to do the negative 3 squared. And when we see negative 3 inside the parentheses, that's the base, so we know it's negative 3 times negative 3, which is a positive 9, because a negative times a negative is positive. Other things that students want to do is they want to begin 5 minus 2 right away. However, there's the 2 that's right next to the parentheses, and that means multiply, and we always multiply before we subtract. So you actually have to make sure that you do 2 times 9 before you subtract it from 5. And now 5 minus 18 is negative 13. We need to make sure that we remember our adding and subtracting integers rules. Let's look at another problem. This time this has a fraction in it. So this is a long fraction bar, and a long fraction bar is actually a grouping symbol. So what this tells us is we have to simplify what's in the numerator and simplify what's in the denominator before we can divide. So let's look at the 3 minus 11. That is negative 8. But the 2 bars around it mean absolute value. And the absolute value of a number is the positive of the number inside. So that tells me that that's a positive 8. And then all we have to do is take 2 squared. So the base is 2. 2 times 2 is 4. And 8 divided by 4 is equal to 2. Let's look at another fraction problem. So again, this fraction bar is telling us that we need to group the 7 minus 4. So we have to simplify that first. 7 minus 4 is 3 divided by 6. We didn't subtract 8 because the minus 8 was not it wasn't above the fraction bar. So that is actually separate from the fraction. So now all we have to do is take 3/6, simplify it, and then we can subtract our fractions. 8 is really the same as, if I'm trying to find a common denominator, 16 halves, and then 1 minus 16 is negative 15 halves, and that is the same as negative 7.5. And this is the last problem we're going to look at. So this is another fraction problem with a long fraction bar that's telling us we have to simplify what's in the numerator and we have to simplify what's in the denominator before we can divide. So first I want to look at what's inside the parentheses, and I would make sure that I have to do the 2 squared first before I do 4 minus 2, because this 2 is right next to the base. Whereas it was before, it was outside the parentheses. This is inside the parentheses, so it's only squaring this 2 right here. And so now that's 4 minus 4, which is 0. Which is the same as 10. And then 32 minus 42 is negative 10. 10 divided by 10 is equal to 1. And in our division problem, our multiplication and division, 1 minus 1 negative makes your answer negative.